Hey everyone, this is JD with the Vicky Pop Culture channel. You know what? January is the 30th anniversary of a very cult classic, Biodome. Yep, starring Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin.
Biodome.
Did you know that the Biodome movie is actually based here off the Biosphere? It did not film here. It filmed at the Tiemann Water Treatment Plant in Van Nuys, California. So they weren't able actually to film here at the Biosphere 2, but you can see all the inspiration here. And so today I kind of wanted to take you guys on a tour of the Biosphere 2 and kind of walk you through what the heck a biosphere is, what it looks like, and maybe you'll learn some cool things. All right, so go with me as we go ahead and take a tour of the Biosphere 2.
Starting transmission.
Okay, as you enter into the front door of the building, you are welcomed by the missions of the actual Biosphere 2. See, the goal was to design an enclosed facility that simulated the environment and demonstrated the interconnectedness of humans to their environment. As you can tell, since the Biosphere is actually located in Oracle, Arizona, you know, it is right there in the middle of the wilderness. And you'll run into wild creatures out here. There's a lot of signs saying to be careful of scorpions, tarantulas. But you know what, though? You still get beautiful creatures like this with the deers just kind of roaming the field. It's really cool to see. But that's enough looking at the deer. Let's head over into the actual biosphere. All right, if you look over here, we have actually, this is actually like the Biosphere 2 Conference Center. And you know, it's very unique. This is actually where many of the scientists and people coming from different parts of the country will actually come and stay if they're running experiments within the Biosphere 2. They have symposiums here, and you know, other school activities can also be done here, so which is really neat. But yeah, it's pretty cool that you know the guests who are here to work at the Biosphere have a place to stay while working. And we're here. We're here at the Biosphere 2. Check it out. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so there, well, that is the main biosphere, and then the living quarters, and one of the lungs is over there too. So, but we'll get a closer look in a bit. All right, I kind of just want to go on a little side track right here and take a look at this tree. This is a really cool, like statue. It's like solar panel tree. So you know how plants use photosynthesis to create energy. Here we have an actual like tree creating energy. That's pretty cool. It's pretty neat to think about. So you're probably asking yourself, why do they call it the Biosphere 2? Where's the Biosphere 1? There's not actually a Biosphere 1. No, Biosphere 1 is Earth. So Earth is your Biosphere 1, and that's why this is called the Biosphere 2. Right, got a little bit up close. You can kind of see this is actually the rainforest room. So we'll get in there soon, but yeah, kind of like see the plants just like building up and like leaching onto the side of the building. And I mean, this thing has been around since the early 90s. It's crazy.
So here we are. We actually made it to the Biodome. You can see this is actually going to be the entrance. You can tell, not very much like the Biodome from the movie, but here's the official, the real Biosphere 2. And we're actually going to go inside right now and take a look. So follow me along as we go inside and look at the Biosphere. All right, we're walking on into the Biosphere. The door's right ahead of us. As you can see, man, the thing is amazing. Take a look at it. Just breathtaking. The scientific feats to build this was. Yeah, the rainforest is right there, and there's the entrance. That's the living quarters right there. That's really cool. And right there is the living quarters. That's where the library on the very top is. So we're gonna go inside right now. So let's go ahead and take a look inside the Biosphere. All right, here we are. We're actually in the kitchen area. It kind of shows you how they actually used to live here in the Biodome back in like the early 90s when they were living here for those 2 years. Right out there is the high savanna, so we'll be going in that area soon too. Yeah. And our next stop right here is the living quarters. What's really neat about this, there's actually 10 living quarters in this building.
And then the upstairs of there is where you actually have your bedroom, and down here is actually your main living room area. All right, we're gonna walk over here into. This is pretty cool over here. So this landscape right here. This is actually where they used to have the livestock and their farmlands back in the early 90s when they were living in the biosphere. And kind of gives you an idea what it looks like now. They've actually updated it now. They're doing research now and determining how water flows downhill and how does it get into the groundwater. So that's what this design is right here. And when you go look outside the window, you'll kind of see them actually starting to grow things on here. It's pretty cool to think about. That's what this is used for. All right, so this is actually called the orchard. So the Biospherians, when they were living here, they didn't actually have any sugar. So any sweets they were actually wanting or craving, they would actually have to get it from plants, from fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. So here we have the orchard, and the fun name for this place, they actually called this place the sweet shop. Because you got your grapes, your lemons, your limes, your oranges, your grapefruits, guavas, apples, coffee, sugar cane, cacao, star fruits. You name it was all grown in this area. So, hey, this is our candy shop in a sense. It's a pretty cool thing about what's in here. What's crazy though is that one fun fact they did mention is that the coffee plants in here, they were only allowed to make coffee when they had enough for everybody in the biosphere. So, yeah, can you imagine not having any coffee for months on end? Oh, just crazy to think about. And with that, we're back outside of the biodome. So right here, this is actually with the Leo system. That's what we were looking at the inside with the slopes. To do research and discover how water works in different environments and different climates and different altitudes, elevations, stuff like that. It's all done in there. And like I said before, that's actually where they had the livestock and all the farming lands back in 91 through 93 when they were living in the biosphere. This is like a marvel of engineering work. So just take a look at that trailer right there. So that freight farm right there is actually a hydroponic farm. So they're actually growing plants and food without using soil, which is really neat to think about. So yeah, these vertical farms in here are like the wave of the future because they're able to research what kind of areas and climates, sunlight, all that stuff, all these plants need to grow, and they can do this in this controlled environment and actually you know, make it better for places where food is very scarce. So that leads me to some crazy engineering feats here. So over here, back there, you'll see the domes. These domes are actually the lungs of the building. So you're right there, you also see that building right there with the five arch segments and the three towers in front. That's the energy center. So the Biosphere 2 requires continuous power to maintain the environment, to maintain the conditions, stuff like that. So that right there is like the heart of the whole biosphere. So as for the lungs, these were designed to keep track of the pressure and everything inside the biosphere because there's no outside presence. So yeah, this is a marvelous feat here too. The lungs is really cool. If you get a chance to, you can take a tour of the lungs. We didn't do it this time, but I think next time we go, we'll definitely take a tour of the lungs. All right, last looks before we go inside the actual biosphere. Our first stop will be the coastal fog desert. So, without further ado, let's go inside. And here we are. We're here in the actual desert biome. So, this is actually supposed to mimic the coastal fog deserts, not the desert that we have here in Arizona, but more of the coastal areas. Because of the other areas where we had like the savanna, the rainforest, it just wouldn't be feasible. But yeah, so many different scientific experiments have been done here just to experiment what different climate changes and how these plants can survive in different conditions, stuff like that. Yeah, this is really cool. So yeah, I'm gonna let you guys kind of enjoy as we walk through here. All right, As we continue on forward, we're going to be going to the lower savanna area, and that's kind of where we're heading to right now. Again, I'm just going to kind of let you guys enjoy as we walk through this area. Alright, and as we finish going up these stairs, we're actually going to be entering the savanna area. This area has plants from Africa, South America, Australian savannas. Can all be located right here in this biome. And right down there, we'll do a quick glance. That is the ocean biome. Can you believe that? Look at that little object in the center of the water. They're actually using that to determine on how they create new coral reefs and actually implant them in areas where the coral reefs have died out. So that's really cool. That little thing right there. Yep.
All right, guys. So we're actually here in the savannah, the upper savannah area, and down there is the ocean. So you can kind of see the man-made ocean down there. But we are actually right now going to head in to the actual rainforest. So this is like the middle ground between the high desert, like the desert area, the savannah, and now into the rainforest. So let's go ahead and go in and see what it's like. We're in the rainforest right now. It is humid, the humidity, the wind breeze, and all that stuff. This is really cool. Like in a natural rainforest.
There are actually plants in here that are as old as I am. So yeah, some of the original plants here since 1991 are still growing in here, brand new. But yeah, some of these trees have been here since the early 90s. So that I think about.
We're actually going to be leaving the rainforest right now. But it's really cool to see.
You want to know what's crazy though? This doesn't look anything like the rainforest portions of Biodome. Yeah, this looks more what it would look like realistically.
But there's a canopy up there. All these plants.
You know, there are some crazy stories that you'll find out about Biosphere 2. I would recommend checking out Spaceship Earth. It's a documentary about the first 2 years and that whole crew because some crazy stuff happened. There was issues with CO2 levels. There were issues with the people. They didn't like each other. There was a cult mentality type of thing going on. It's so crazy, but I recommend you check out that documentary if you want to learn more.
I'm going to wrap it up and we'll be heading out here soon. But I hope you guys enjoyed the look at the Biosphere, which was the inspiration for the Biodome movie. You know, more of a goofy take of it, but it's crazy to think about that a place like this does really exist. We just finished our tour of the Biosphere 2, and you know what? We had such a great time. I hope you guys enjoyed the little tour of the Biosphere 2. Hope you learned something new. It is actually the 30th anniversary of Biodome, and this is the place that inspired the movie. So it's really cool to take you on a tour. So if you guys have any comments about the biosphere, if you ever wanted to go to the biosphere, have you ever been to the biosphere, let me know in the comment section down below. And you know what? Until next time, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is posted. And remember, it's JD with the Figgy Pop Collector Channel.
That concludes a Figgy Pop transmission.